What's up, you guys? All right, so, well, I'm back in the green today. I made up yesterday's loss, which is good. Not that that was exactly the goal starting the day. I mean, my goal was to be green, and I mean, we've had such a crazy market where, you know, I've had days where I've been just absolutely crushing it that I pretty much felt, you know, I'll probably be able to get back that loss really quickly, but I gotta wait and be patient. If we have another day like yesterday, I might not trade at all. And that's why I said to myself, I was like, you know what, if the market tomorrow, and I was saying this last night, I was like, Ross, if the market tomorrow sucks, then don't trade. You know, what are you pushing it for? It's just not worth it. Just hold off, just ease off the throttle. And so that's what I did. I came in this morning, I was watching the gap scan, and we had a couple stocks that looked really, really good. And so pre-market, I had my first trade on BRN. Cheaper stock, got in at about $1.80, sold on the move up to $2. Not a home run, but had tight spreads, was cheaper with 10,000 shares, then added to 15,000, made 1,500 bucks on my first trade. So I was like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction. Green, thank goodness. All right, took another trade on it, another 500 bucks, was up 1,900. The bell rings, it dips down, and I took 20,000 shares as it popped back up, about $96, 97, adding it to, rips up to 210, a little bit of resistance there, so I sell, almost $2,000 of profit. So now I'm up 4,000. I'm like, all right, not bad, not bad. Took a couple more trades, made a little bit more, and then had trades on a few other stocks. So UONE, there was an 8K out, some news, insiders taking profit. Hey, bud. So this is the dog that, you know, black dogs are the least adopted, by the way. Adopt, don't shop. So, you know, I like to show him when he's around, but he's pretty neurotic. So he's not good on camera. You can barely even see him. I mean, honestly, what are we looking at here? Is that an ear? Is that a tail? I don't know. I don't know, and I don't even care. So June girl, she's the star of this channel. So anyways, UONE, there was an 8K out. Insiders had sold some shares into that move. You know, good for them. They made some money. Anyways, so it was consolidating around 25 pre-market. The bell rings, it rips through 25, 27, 28. It's halted going up. On the resumption, it dipped. I bought the dip. It rips up, $1,200 of profit. Dips down, I bought that next dip with bigger size because now I'm up 5,000 on the day. Got a nice $4,000 or $5,000 winner, up 7,500 or so on UONE. So I was up about 12,000 on the day before I started trading FFHL. And that was the one that I ended up making 50 grand on. It squeezed on a red to green setup. It was up pre-market with news, did a red to green, ripped from $7 up to $10.50. I had a trade, which I'll show you during this video, some live trading where I was up holding 22,000 shares as it ripped up to 945. Ended up from that spot going to 1050. So I had a couple big share size positions. I'm not gonna say I was trading with small share size today. I was being aggressive and trying to, you know, capitalize as much as I could on profit. I got stung by a bee the other day, and I'm allergic to bees. Fortunately, it wasn't the type of bee I'm allergic to, so it's the risk of being outside. FFHL, you know, it was the fourth leading gapper in the market. I was watching it a little bit pre-market, but it was weak, so I was kind of like, I don't know. But bell rings, sold off a little bit, didn't trade it. Rips up, does a red to green move, and I got in at 825, 8,000 shares. Held into the halt going up, squeezed up to over $8, and on that first trade made about, I don't know, $10,000, $15,000. So things today, you know, just like that, momentum was back. And that's kind of the funny thing is that yesterday, I mean, I was really trying to finish the day green and I couldn't for the life of me find any momentum. And then today, it was just super, super hot. So it's like flipping the switch. You know, what was the difference between yesterday and today? Yesterday, you know, our leading gapper failed pretty quickly. The two leading gappers failed. We didn't have good pre-market trades. Nothing was really set up. Bell rings. We had stocks failing right away. A couple things popped up, but I mean, maybe, some of you guys were probably, I saw some of you in the comments were green yesterday. So maybe yesterday I was just off my game and was too aggressive in the wrong spots. But hey, momentum's back today, so that's great. Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday, Wildcard Wednesday, and we'll be back at it, live streaming right around 9 a.m., my watch list. So I'll see you guys then. Enjoy the recap today. As always, questions, comments, leave them below, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye, everyone. All right, you guys, so we're going to do our recap. Back in the driver's seat today, red day yesterday, down 10,000, which was frustrating mostly because I could have avoided some of the losses. I ended up being really aggressive on my first couple trades, put me in the red, and then because I was in the red, often, when you're trying to get yourself from red to green, sometimes you'll lower your quality standard a little bit just to try to get some trades, and I had a couple unnecessary losses, made the situation worse, and wasn't able to get green. So today when I sat down, I was like, you know what, focus on good quality setups, build your cushion. That's your job. So BRN was our leading gapper in the entire US market today. It's got 28 million shares of volume. It gapped up 143%. And as you can see here, it's got a flow of 6.55 million shares. It did have some news this morning reporting quarterly and 6-month financials. I looked at them and I was like, well, they're still reporting a net loss. It's just not as big of a loss as the losses from previous quarters. So I was sort of like, all right, I don't know about this. XRF, I do see that squeezing up. It's Chinese stock. First 5-minute candle to make a new high right there at 360. That was the entry. And then since that's broken, now the question is, what happens on the first pullback? So the first 1-minute pullback after a fresh 5-minute breakout. This actually went from 350 all the way to 414 without a pullback. So, if I pulled up the stock, I would say XRF, the high is 414. This on a 10-second chart, you might even be seeing it's doing a micro pullback right now. So there's a long over 14. So I'd be in there at 10. I want to see it break over 18, 20, and I could pop out a little bit of profit there. Maybe I'm selling too soon, but that's basically what I would do. I would take that little pop right there on that micro pullback. The new and the stop would have been 4. So, not an amazing profit to loss ratio, but $109 and a good example of a micro pullback. If we flip back to the 1-minute chart, we're not seeing proper pullbacks. But this candle right now at the top with a slightly sort of a red doji, well, it's going higher. So I don't know, maybe this thing is just going to keep ripping. The problem, of course, with taking trades on stocks that are squeezing up like this, the entry at 414, it feels extended, right? So when it's extended, you're always going to think, man, I should really take my profit off the table quickly. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I better just lock it up. Here it's squeezing higher, 76, 77. So, did I sell too soon on this one? Yeah, I guess so. But take profit, right? You're always going to leave a little money on the table. You're never possibly going to be able to make the absolute most. And this had already had such a big move. It's extended on the 5-minute chart. Congratulations to those of you guys who got the correct entry on the 5-minute, which was the first candle to make a new high at 358. That's over $1 a share. That's a 30% return in 10 minutes of trading. That's awesome. So this is now halted here at 76. We'll see where it resumes, but it wouldn't surprise me to see a bigger move on this. So I would flip to the daily chart. I would look at this, I would back it up and I would say, what are the daily levels in play? All right, so I would go back here with my blue line and I would say, we've got room now up to the high of this candle. There's no resistance till 6. However, you can see that candle is a topping tail, so it squeezed up and then rolled over. It didn't hold that level. This right through here, I don't see anything super significant. So $6 is your spot. But notice the absence of a catalyst, a technical catalyst. How's a stock up 92% without news? Well, I think it's on sympathy to FFHL. FFHL started its move pre-market. It's the one that I made the most money on. And you can see here that this, I mean, it's actually a continuation setup. It was pretty strong yesterday. Then after hours continues higher, pulls back, pops up, pulls back, continues. And it was pulled back quite a bit before the bell. Now, it squeezed up right here to a high of 743. And initially, again, you'd look at this 5-minute setup and say, you know, where do you buy this? Red to green move? That's the only 5-minute setup you got. Well, that's true, but on the 1 minute, there were a lot of opportunities. So on the 1 minute, and I mean, if we actually went down to a 10-second chart, which I don't usually use for trading, but is a good teaching tool, if you go back down to this time frame, you can see, you know, okay, well, there were several little pullbacks right through here. This was a little micro pullback right here, another one right there as it broke over 7 and then squeezed up to 746. It opened higher. And I can show you a couple of my trades. So this was a trade that I had on it. I was holding 22,352 shares long at 925. It was halted at 945. And you know what happened out of that halt? Let's go back and look at this chart. It squeezed up to $10.49. This was the halt right here. Right here was the halt, right there. So I was already long for the break through the high of day. So that was basically a high of day setup. I added at 9 and then added going into the halt, which brought my cost basis up to 925. The JRJC is another Chinese stock. So you're seeing some China momentum here. So anyways, FFHL, jumped into that. Had a couple trades on it, but that was a really big trade for me. And on resumption, it hit a high of 1010, and then it pulled back. And then the first pop right here, I added, and we got that squeeze up to 1049. I mean, really, really picture perfect. And you know, I was pretty aggressive on that. So we can review some of these trades for students in the classes. This was another one here. I was long 8,000 shares right here going into this halt. So this was at, what was the timestamp? FFHL, just move this a little further forward. So resumption, okay, so this was halted. You can see here at 9:46 and 20 seconds. Resumption will be down here at halted was 9:41, sorry, and 46 seconds. Resumption will be 9:46 and 26 seconds. 46 seconds, my gosh. All right, so let's play this for a second. So thank you for Kyle. Thank you to Kyle for giving me this tip about my keyboard and mouse capture. So we've got that going here on this one. Okay, so let's watch this. So, oh, hold on. Let me just back this up for 1 second. Okay, so we're about to resume here. I just want to see, that's JRJC. And let me just check resumption on this one. So resumption is going to be about 37, it's actually 30 seconds away. So let's watch XRF for a second before the next, before we review that FFHL trade. All right, so XRF, is this an Amex stock? I would expect to be able to see approximately where it's going to open. XRF. It's on NYSE. It's a NYSE stock. Okay, so we've got resumption coming up here in just a few seconds. All right, so let's watch this. All right, so I'll just have this order here. So I put it at $5. I'll just do 1,000 share. Or I'm just gonna do small size. I don't want to do anything crazy here. So it's still halted, which means it's going to be a 10-minute long halt. All right, so that's going to be a 10-minute long halt. It was halted at the last timestamp was at 32. You can see right here, 32:04, 32:07 actually. So resumption is usually 5 minutes later to the second, but in this case is going to be a little bit longer. Let's see. Show header. I find it really annoying when it that it likes to sort time. There we go. Okay, so we'll watch that for a second. So let's go back to FFHL. So FFHL, similar kind of stock. At this point right here is halted and is about to resume. I'm already holding 8,000 shares. In this case, 825. All right, so I'm looking here on this. So there's resumption. I add right there. What am I looking for? The break through $8. We get the break of 8. I've got 23,000 shares at 64. I take a little off the table, 802 on the break through the whole dollar. Take a little bit more off the table there as it's squeezing higher. So those are my orders to sell on the ask. And then I'm holding a little bit as it drops back down. On this dip, I'm going to add back in a second. So now it's kind of straddling the whole dollar. It's above it, it's below it, it's above it, it's below it. So now I'm going to put the order here at 824. And I add back there. It's like basically what it's doing right here is a micro pullback. So I'm looking for it to squeeze up through that level. Oh, hold on. XRF opened. That was weird. So a strange open. The high was 77. So I don't know why it didn't open at a traditional 5-minute mark. But I would say over 77 would be a possible trade. But gosh, that's a little strange. The resumption there was at 38. Usually it's exactly 5 minutes. But it's a NYSE stock, right? So New York Stock Exchange is different than NASDAQ in terms of the open rules. So anyways, well, that's fine. Whatever, it is what it is. So yeah, FFHL, some really nice trades on that one, Chinese stock. And FFHL was our 4th leading gapper in the entire market today. So 3.2 million share float, up 35%. FFHL, as you can see here, did have a catalyst. So it had some headlines. So we rode the momentum there, and I will say that I stepped up to the plate with bigger share size. Obviously, 22,000 shares, $1 a share, that's $22,000. But, I mean, for every penny it goes up, it's $220. For every 10 cents, it's $2,200. So for every dollar, it's $22,000. And we got a nice squeeze on this from 7 up to 8 to 9 and all the way to 1050. But unfortunately, it pulled back. I did a dip trade off the VWAP here, and I thought maybe it was going to hold, but I didn't like how hard it pulled back. And honestly, I didn't even think we were going to trade it today because pre-market it was selling off so much. It just happened that it broke the VWAP and then gave an opportunity. UONE, I chased this one a little bit. So I had said I was maybe interested in it. We had catalyst here of an 8K insiders that sold shares over the last few days. We still have not had a secondary offering, so it made me think, all right, well, maybe this thing is bottoming out here. So out of the gates, I said I liked it over 25.39 because I could see this double top from pre-market high. Well, the bell rings, and at that time I was focusing on BRN, and so I missed this, and it squeezes up and it got halted right here. It then resumed, it dipped down, and I got long for the break over 27. It rips up right here up to 28, up to 28, 27.95. It then dips down. I got back in as it squeezes up here. I don't know, somewhere around 27.50 for the break of 28. So I'm back in for the break of 28. It squeezes up to 27.95 and up to 28.99 and up to a high of 29.48. So it did end up giving us some opportunities, but you guys who probably jumped on it down here off the watch list would have done better on it than I did. And now it's pulling back a little bit. Again, to answer questions on the 10-second chart, this time frame is available with eSignal. It's not available with Trade TC2000, and most platforms don't offer it. And I don't really use it a lot in my own trading. I use it more when I'm going back and giving you guys commentary on something I saw, because sometimes the things I see are so minuscule that you can't even see them in a 1-minute chart. So it's helpful, again, like I said, as a teaching tool. So UONE, I did better on it than I thought. That was actually pretty good. But, again, a big range, and I think my biggest size on that was maybe 4,500 shares. So, 50 cents, $2,000, got a couple nice trades. BRN, as in Nancy, I actually traded pre-market, and this was the stock that I built my cushion on. So, that building your cushion is the most important thing each day. It's getting a strong start. So, where was the entry? It was the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. So right there, first 5-minute candle to make a new high, that was my entry, and that was it was maybe at 79 or 80. But to anticipate the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, which was at $1.82. This squeezed up, as you can see here, to $1.98. I started on it with 10,000 shares. I then added another 5,000 once I was in the green, so I had 15,000 shares, and on my first trade I got about $1,500 of profit. So about 10 cents. It then pulls back, and then with a cushion, I added on the pullback and got another trade, and that time was with 20,000 shares. So I got a couple of nice trades on it with 15,000 and 20,000 shares right through this area, and I can bring this into the 1-minute chart so you can see a little bit more clearly. And my last trade on it was right in here for the break over 20,000 shares long, looking for the break of 210. It hit 210. I actually added at 210. And I increased my max share size on the day to 40,000 shares in case this was stronger. Being a cheaper stock, I didn't think that we were going to get like 40, 50 cent breakouts. So I felt like I needed to trade with bigger size and just capture the 10 cents, 15 cents, or whatever I could get. But the biggest size I took on it, I think, was 20 or maybe 25,000 shares. And that was right in this area. But there was a really big seller at 210 and it could not break that level. So, and again, I would say a couple things. Number one, just as a reminder of good common sense, you should not be blindly following me or anyone else. I know it's easy to say, oh, wow, look, Ross is making some good money, and you're right. But you shouldn't blindly follow me. If you try to blindly follow me, you're going to be behind. I trade very quickly. And that's, part of the advantage that I have as a trader is being able to see opportunities on the level 2 and to be able to make quick decisions. And I'm good at that. What I'm really bad at is having the confidence to hold for longer periods of time. And even from a perspective of swing trading, I never hold stocks overnight. And I probably leave so much money on the table by not trying to capitalize. Go on, girl, outside. By not trying to capitalize or not having the courage to capitalize on longer term opportunities. But I'm really not good at seeing things in that way. But I can see very short term setups, and I'm able to pull the trigger on those. So in any case, you can't blindly follow me or anyone else. You've got to learn the strategy. And that was something that I had to learn the hard way, trying to blindly follow other people. It doesn't matter, whether you're trying to follow Jim Cramer or Warren Buffett or Carl Icahn, you don't have the same account as them. And I mentioned this earlier this year. I said, this year I want to make a commitment to trying to get better at long-term trading, long-term investing, essentially. And so I have my TD Ameritrade account that I've sort of set up for that purpose. And this is obviously my day trading account. Now, at the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, well, maybe, why do I think that I'm going to be find anything better than Warren Buffett or Carl Icahn? It's never going to happen. So, let me go and see what those guys are doing. Now, as it turns out, Warren Buffett's sold the bottom on airlines, and Carl Icahn has taken a bath on OXY. And, he's holding like $4 billion of this stock. Look at this. This is outrageous. And so I was looking at it in January, and I was like, if he's holding it, he obviously knows something I don't know. He's probably on the board of directors. So, maybe I should just be, kind of trying to follow along. And then I said, you know what? You can't do that because you don't know his portfolio allocation. Obviously, he's got a position in it, but for all I know, he can afford to lose this $2 billion here because he's going to make another $4 billion somewhere else. So you have to be able to make the decision yourself, and I'm hoping that what I'm able to do is apply the strength that I have in technical analysis to make some longer term trades. Which essentially, the biggest risk with longer term trades is that fundamentals come into play more and more. And especially on small caps, the fundamentals on a lot of small caps are pretty weak. So most people that are looking at longer term stuff are going to start to look at mid caps and large caps and stuff like that. But if you can do your due diligence and at least vet that they're not carrying a lot of debt, that they have free cash flow and sort of basic due diligence, then perhaps focusing on the technicals can be valid. But again, you're still subject to the ups and downs of the overall market, and the overall market last night was looking a little interesting, and then all of a sudden squeezes higher. So there was the news about the China trade deal, and off the table, and now, here we're just, the market's crazy. So that's a big challenge with anything long-term, is that you're subject to a certain extent to the whims of the market. But in any case, I've kind of gone off on a tangent here. So back to the watch list this morning. So BRN, yes, I was trading with bigger size. I was being aggressive. Don't blindly follow me or anyone else. I have an account size where I can afford to take 25,000. I can afford to take 40,000 shares of this stock. I mean, if I really wanted to, this account could probably take, well, this is a $2 stock, so 100,000 shares would be $200,000. So I could probably take 300,000 shares of this stock if I wanted to. And, I'm not going to do that though. But the fact is, you have to manage your risk based on what you can afford and your max losses and things like that. You may see me at times take more risk and be more aggressive. Obviously, when I've done small account challenges, I've kind of brought things back down to the level of trading with a small account. And the biggest difference between the way I'm trading right now and the way I was trading in December with a small account, honestly, I would say the biggest difference is share size. Because if we had had this market back in December, I would have been just as aggressive with a small account. Last December, when we had LMPX that went from, the thing was incredible. It went from $8 to $50 a share. I was trading that every day, but with like 75, 100 shares. So if this if this happened right now, I would be trading it with regular size and trying to make some really serious money on it. So really, I think the biggest difference is share size. But as it turned out, when I did my last small account challenge, we really we didn't have as hot of a market. So I was really only taking 2 or 3 trades a day. And I wasn't as aggressive on dip trades, but I also wasn't comfortable with that strategy until I had gotten better at trading it through the market drop in March. So I would probably, if I did a small account challenge, I would do dip trades. I just, girl, lay down. You lay down. I just wouldn't do them until I first had the cushion on the day. And so anyways, the big difference between today and yesterday is that I built my cushion on BRN, and then once I had a cushion, then I started stepping up with a little bit more risk. So BRN was 4,400, then UONE was 7,200. So at that point, I was up about 12,000, and then FFHL popped up. So I was already up 12,000 before I was long with 8,000 shares on FFHL into that halt going up at whatever it was, 725 or whatever that was. So building that cushion is so important, and this happened to be a good setup pre-market, so I took it. But if your first trade of the day, you trip out of the starting gates, it can just throw you off center for the entire rest of the day. So you got to make sure those first trades are really dialed in, get your cushion, and then once you have it, then from there, you can scale up as you'd wish. All right, so that's it today. FFHL, UONE, BRN. And we're going to switch gears. It's about coming up on 11 a.m. So we're going to jump into the Warrior Pro Classroom and pick back up with summer school starting in about 10 minutes. All right, so let's see you guys in the classroom.
And that right there was an entire video with no ads. I don't monetize my YouTube channel with video ads, which means you guys get to enjoy the content. But do me a favor, please hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up and let YouTube know that this channel is the channel to watch if you want to learn about day trading.